The best coach ever. When you say that sentence, the first synonyms might be Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Ettore Messina. However, I think the name Zeljko Obradovic will come to mind first for the majority of people. He is loved by many, especially Panathinaikos, Fenerbahce, and Partizan fans. However, like any man, he is also disliked by many, especially by the fans of rival clubs. Obradovic started to decorate his career with trophies at the very beginning, when in the first year of his coaching career, he led the young team of one of the best clubs from the Balkans, the well-known team from Serbia, Partizan. You can't imagine a better start to your career than that. It was a fairy tale start for the rookie coach, and the victory marked the beginning of his legendary coaching journey. It is the first and only EuroLeague in Partizan's cabinet, which adds even more to the importance of that trophy. A very incredible success. Zeljko was nowhere near finished after his first EuroLeague. After winning the title with Partizan, Zeljko became the coach of the team he defeated in the famous EuroLeague final, Juventud. That year, Obradovic showed that he can really succeed outside his country, because in the same season when he took over the Juventud team, he won his second EuroLeague trophy. Juventud was definitely not the most talented team that season, but with the magic touch of Zeljko Obradovic, it turned into the best. After winning the EuroLeague with Juventud, the same situation as the previous year, only this time Real Madrid decides to hire the most successful young coach in that period. He will stay at Real Madrid for the next 3 years, where he will also manage to bring 1 EuroLeague to Real Madrid, and now with 3 EuroLeague wins in his 4 years of coaching, he can be called one of the most successful coaches in Europe. However, Zeljko, he didn't plan to stop at all. After spending 3 years in Madrid, Zeljko was hired by Benetton Treviso, an Italian club, where he will stay for another 3 years, where he will not be able to win the EuroLeague, thus ending his streak of success with clubs. However, this did not discourage Zeljko, and after the episode with Bennett and Travis, his golden era begins. Look at this joy. This is what happens when the best coach of all time says that he will stay at the club for a few more years. But this is very far in advance. We will go back a bit in the past. After an unsuccessful episode in Benetton from Travis, Obradovic is hired by none other than Panathinaikos. When Obradovic took over Panathinaikos in 1999, the club was already a rising force in European basketball. They had won their first EuroLeague title in 1996, but were looking for consistent success both domestically and internationally. Obradovic's arrival marked the beginning of a dynasty that would dominate the EuroLeague and the Greek League for over a decade. We should start with the list of trophies won by Zeljko Obradovic in Panathinaikos. They should start with the fact that it was absolute dominance for those 13 years. The most important trophy that can be won in European basketball, of course the EuroLeague trophy, was won by 5 of them. A whopping 5 EuroLeague trophies in 13 years spent at the club. Very incredible. Something only the best could ever do. Each of the 5 titles in Panathinaikos was legendary in itself. In 2000, the beginning of the new century, the new millennium, Zeljko Obradovic fulfills the promise he made to the fans the previous year when he arrived in Panathinaikos, and brings the first EuroLeague, adding another star on the coat of arms of Panathinaikos, and one more for himself in the list of achievements. It was even better that he won that first title in the colors of Panathinaikos in Greece, i.e. Thessaloniki, with a victory against Maccabi from Tel Aviv. After that, 2 years later, in 2002, Zeljko soon won his second EuroLeague with Panathinaikos, and his 5th against Kinder from Bologna, i.e. today's Virtus, against the main rival for the title of the best European coach, Ettore Messina. However, Zeljko emerges as the winner this time as well. After that title, Obradovic took a little longer break with Panathinaikos after winning the European title, i.e. a 5-year break, but in 2007 he broke that streak. Another EuroLeague title, another star on the coat of arms, another very important trophy for Zeljko's portfolio. It would be unfair to say that Zeljko is a specialist for European competitions. It would be unfair not to mention his other achievements in the Greek championship in those 13 years. Zeljko won an enormous 11 league titles in Greece in 13 years spent at the club. That's absolute dominance, if you ask me, and nothing less than that. But that's not all. The absolute best coach in history, he also won 7 Greek Cups in those 13 years. However, the EuroLeague is still the most important trophy, so we immediately move on to the next one. And immediately 2 years later, that is, in 2009, in Berlin, against CSKA from Moscow, and again against Ettore Messina. Definitely the hardest-earned trophy of all, Siskauskas, a CSKA player, caught fire at the end of the game and almost caught the connection with Panathinaikos. But he missed the three-pointer for victory, and thus Zeljko won his 4th trophy, i.e., the 7th in his career. This is already enough to be called the best ever. However, why stop at that moment when he can be absolutely cemented and be undisputed in the place of the best ever? Zeljko Obradovic wins the freaking 5th EuroLeague for Panathinaikos and his 8th in his career. So people please, this is just amazing. No coach has anywhere near these achievements. This man is incredible. In 2011, Maccabi was the victim again in Barcelona. Simply unbelievable. 13 years seems like a very long period, and people would think, okay, it's normal for him to win the EuroLeague in such a long time. However, it is not as easy as it sounds. Simply the best coach ever, and that's it. However, this man did not stop there either. He will leave his mark in another European giant and add to himself the 9th last EuroLeague just a few years later. But before we move on to his next and last successes, it is a shame for me that I did not mention his successes with the national team of the former state of Yugoslavia, which no longer exists, which are also very important to be mentioned in the debate, if there is a debate at all. If anyone thought that he could be successful only as a club coach, Zeljko Obradovic denied it a long time ago. In 1996 in Atlanta, he won a silver medal at the Olympic Games. 2 years later, in 1998, he won a gold medal at the World Championships in Greece, while in 1997 and 1999, he won a bronze medal at the European Championships. I mean, what can be said? Just another act on the military uniform, so to speak, but it had to be mentioned. This is one of the most legendary moments of Zeljko Obradovic during his stay in Fenerbahce, of course in addition to winning the EuroLeague. After the end of the long-term episode in Panathinaikos, Zeljko Obradovic comes to another European giant, Fenerbahce. He will stay there for 7 years, from 2013 to 2020. It was not as successful an episode as in Panathinaikos. However, Zeljko brought Fenerbahce the first EuroLeague since the competition existed, and that is certainly a very big success. To win the EuroLeague in a club that does not have such a tradition. He also won national competitions, but you will agree, they are not as important as the EuroLeague. In 2017 against Olympiacos, he won his record 9th EuroLeague, which will be his last, at least to this day. He was so convinced that he would someday win that EuroLeague that he promised several talented players who wanted to go to the NBA, Bogdan Bogdanovic in particular comes to mind, that they would postpone going to the NBA for 1 more year, win the EuroLeague, and go to the NBA as winners of the EuroLeague, which eventually happened, an incredible amount of self-confidence. And how could it not when it has so much success behind it? At the end of such a rich and incredible career, it is quite logical to return to the club you love the most, the club where you started as a coach and where you won your first EuroLeague. It was a very emotional return in 2021. Partizan was in a very unenviable situation at that moment, and as their president stated, the only salvation and the only solution for the club, both in terms of marketing and basketball itself, was the return of the best coach ever. Zeljko Obradovic chose to come to the half-dead Partizan, which is playing the Eurocup at that moment, and return it to the paths of its old glory. The fans immediately showed incredible support and started to return to the stands. It is simply impossible not to give support when you have such size on the bench. Zeljko did partially bring Partizan back to life. However, in terms of trophies, he did not make much of a name for himself in the 3.5 years he spent on the bench. He managed to take the only ABA league, i.e., the trophy of the domestic or regional championship, in which clubs from several countries from the Balkans participate. He came closest to winning the EuroLeague that same year when he reached the top 8 clubs. But in the quarterfinals, he was eliminated by Real Madrid due to unfortunate circumstances, i.e. the fight that happened in the second game of the series, which Partizan won. However, although Partizan won that game, several very important players were suspended, and so Partizan could not find the strength to win that third game that would have taken them to the Final Four, where perhaps Zeljko would have won his 10th EuroLeague title. However, it is not worth crying over spilled milk. Zeljko continues his career and has a few more seasons ahead of him, where he still has a chance to win that 10th EuroLeague. As we could see and conclude, Obradovic's career spans over 3 decades, and he has consistently adapted to evolving basketball trends and tactics. His ability to integrate new strategies while maintaining success showcases his basketball IQ and versatility. He is the European coach with the most wins in the EuroLeague and holds some other very impressive records, which only add to his status as the best coach ever. We should enjoy this coaching greatness and the magic he creates for the next few years.